Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Here I am. I had to give a little pause there. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope you're all doing well. We're live today, and we're in a festive mood here. We're getting ready for Easter, so happy Easter to all of you coming up tomorrow morning. Hope you're doing well. The weather looks like it's finally shaping up once again. You know, I don't know about you, but I never put my winter clothes away, ever. I just put them in the corner, and, you know, like we were talking about this the other day, you know, I guess it was May 9th last year. We had like a half a foot or a foot of snow on Mother's Day, so it's just keep those boots handy. You never know. Wow. Anyways, we're live today. Last week we were pre-taped, so I was telling the folks here that you know, I thought, I'm going to sleep in, and it's going to be something we don't do. I mean, this is show 352. I mean, you just sort of like get up every Saturday morning, come to the studio. So I thought, great. But Brody, my little fella that you saw earlier in the slides there, he 7:15, up and at him no matter what, and he'll look you till you are soaked. Get up, Dad, let's move it. Anyways, so first of all, good morning to all of you that are here watching me right now. Good afternoon for those of you that are listening to my show on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people in Jamestown. Thank you. And then we had a lively discussion that if you happen to be in Australia, because we do stream live and we have people that watch us from the Philippines and so forth, happy tomorrow. I guess it's already Easter. Right this minute, it's Easter in Australia, in Melbourne. We figured that out. That new math does come in handy. Okay, a couple shout outs I want to do, and remember that if you have a shout out, if you want to do anniversaries, birthdays, whatever, or if your club or organization has an upcoming event and you see the slides all the time that we share with you, give us a call at 716-753-5225, or you can email us at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com. Okay? Happy to have your news and share it. You can call us at that number and tell us what it is that you want to share, or you can just tell the operator what's going on, and they'll write it down and give it to me as well. And we've done that a number of times. Don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, so here my shout outs are. First of all, we have and I've been practicing this word, so I hope I say it correctly, a heroine, not heroin as in the drug, but heroine as in a female hero, Maya Goot. She was over at the Barcelona Pier the other day, and a gentleman, I guess, was feeding the birds and somehow fell into the water. Well, if it had anything to do with the wind, it would have picked you right up this week. But Maya, with no concern for her own personal safety, jumped in and rescued the gentleman. So Maya, good on you, and so proud that you're part of our community here, and thank you. She's from the Portland area, and I know that we televise into the area, so if you're watching, thumbs up. Okay, every once in a while we have those good news stories, and the gentleman is fine, by the way. Okay, and then I also want to do a shout out to my sister-in-law, Peg Hamels, the wife of my brother. Happy birthday tomorrow. We have a rule here, we don't give out ages, because I like to live long and prosper, but keep on going, Peg, good for you. Okay, some other little quick notes. After the show at about 10 o'clock, Ellen Park is having a big Easter festivity. If you're interested in whatever they're doing over there, Easter egg hunt, I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but something's going on over there. And then I'll read about this again in a little bit, but I'll be over at the Children's Safety Village as soon as the show's over, and they have their drive-through Easter festival. And basically, you wear your mask, you drive the kids through in your vehicle, and there's characters dressed up, and you go through the village, you drive through there, and they give you candy, and just a fun time, and it's a fundraiser for the Safety Village. So I'll be there with my Rotary Club, but I'll read it to you here in a little bit in our various messages that we have. Okay, let's see, what else do I have here? That's pretty much it for my announcements. So let's see what the community has for us. Let's see. Okay. April 2021. Let's see. Saturday, April 24th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. It's going to be at the Chautauqua Mall in Lakewood, parking and lot across from Aspire. This is going to be held at the Westfield Family Physicians in Westfield, All-Star Ambulance in Dunkirk on Monroe Street. Take-Back Day is the easiest and safest way to dispose of unused medications. It's free, anonymous, and available to anyone with access to a drop-off location. A lot of times, I've seen this over the years, you start out on one medication and somehow or another you have like 400 pills, and then that doesn't work anymore and you're on another pill. So what do you do with those pills? You don't want them hanging around in your medicine cabinet for little fingers to get into. Or even with your pets. A lot of times, I still have some medications from my dog that's not with us anymore. So I suspect you probably could do that as well. Prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, pet medications, there we go. Medicated lotions and ointments and pills in any packaging will be accepted. However, sharps and needles will not be accepted. You got to dispose of those safely yourself. So here we go. Is your medicine cabinet a collection of old and new pill bottles? We don't often think about the risks associated with storing our prescriptions at home. But too often, unused prescription drugs find their way into the wrong hands. 9.9 million Americans misused controlled prescription drugs, according to the 2018 National Survey on Drug Use and Health. The study shows that a majority of abused prescription drugs were obtained from family and friends, often from the home medicine cabinet. You know, you don't miss one or two pills. I don't count how many pills are in the bottle. Prescription drug misuse can have serious medical consequences. Last year, this is so sad, 28 lives, 28 were lost in Chautauqua County due to overdose. National Take-Back Day events provide an opportunity for Americans to prevent drug addiction and overdose deaths. We can all work to prevent substance abuse and in turn work together to save lives and keep families intact. Saturday, April 24th, and I will talk about that again next week, okay? So think about that, look in your medicine cabinet, gather up the stuff, and get ready to get rid of it. Okay, good news. Slide 15, Jeff. Reg Lene, open again. Super duper. It says, we're open again. The Reg can now show movies again at a limited capacity. Good news. Okay, Spring Break Matinee, DreamWorks, The Croods, The New Age. It's going to be held Wednesday, April 7th at 2 p.m. and the weekend matinee, Saturday, April 10 at 2 p.m. All right. Reopening plans update. The Reg for the Center for the Arts is open to the public, adhering to public updated guidelines, safety guidelines. The theater has a maximum capacity of 100 patrons at this time. All tickets must be pre-purchased. This can be done by phone at 4-800-7070. 484, did I say 4800? Let me start again. I hate when I do that. 484-7070. Or reglinay.com. The box office will be open Mondays from 12 to 5 and Wednesdays and Fridays from 12 to 8 p.m. By purchasing a ticket, you are affirming you will do a self-health check the day of the event, confirming you have no symptoms of COVID-19. Please stay home if you or anyone in your party are exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms. Won't it be nice when I don't have to read that anymore? All patrons must wear masks. If you're unwilling to or unable to wear one, we ask you to attend a future event when masks are not required. In other words, don't come. Temperature checks, contactless concessions, transactions, and social distancing markers are in place. All patrons will be shown to their seats by an usher or staff member. Seats may not be switched. That's crucial. And that's true of a lot of the outdoor events that are going on right now where people are gathering. You can go to these safely, but you just can't get up and move around. The theater seating has been reconfigured to accommodate a smaller capacity audience in socially distant sections. All surfaces in the theater, lobby, concessions, box office, and restrooms will be cleaned thoroughly between events. Whew. A $1 COVID cleaning fee will be applied to each ticket sold. New compliant air filters have been installed. They look forward to serving you. Art will happen here again. The Reg is back. Great news. Well, slowly we're getting back to some normalcy, huh? We're getting there. Hang in there. Keep getting those shots. Safety Village at Easter time. Okay. Let's see. The Chautauqua Safety Village will be hosting their Easter Carnival this year, today, from 10 to 1. They are, again, having it as a drive-through, and they've modified the event to make it easier where vehicles can enter through the back of the village, drive around the property to get candy, and back out. They learned a little bit from their last drive-through event, and they have reworked the map, so it's going to be a lot easier. They're going to have the Asheville Fire Department directing traffic again, and we'll be monitoring traffic flow very carefully. They are such good people. They've come out for years and years and years to help out. They have a variety of ideas that are going to make the event fun and safe for everyone, and there's going to be a lot of volunteers there, and I know that they're going to have folks dressed up as cartoon characters, lots of candy, and as I said, I'll be there after the show with my Rotary Club giving out candy. All right, let's move on. Run for Hope. Let's see. It says, visit this event on our Facebook. The Hope Chautauqua is a substance use prevention coalition. We envision a healthy, drug-free community where all residents have an equal opportunity to reach their full potential. Our mission is to create an environment where all youth can develop into healthy and productive adults through the promotion and implementation of healthy lifestyle choices and the use of evidence-based community-level substance use interventions. Please run with us to help us help you. So how's this working? The Hope Chautauqua Coalition is holding its first ever virtual 5K run for hope to bring family and friends together during this time of uncertainty. The proceeds will go to strengthening the coalition's prevention efforts in a multitude of ways. Projects such as prevention mobile unit, youth engagement events, future fundraising events, and educational substance use prevention games and activities are expected to resume in the upcoming months. The funding will assist the coalition in its endeavors without any financial barriers. Please run with hope to help us help you. When you run for hope, you are running for healthy opportunities for prevention education. Okay, so you can check that out by going to Facebook, look up Hope Chautauqua. All right, Now, if you are like me and you keep every piece of paper because your mother told you to, this may be your opportunity to get rid of some of that stuff because mom wasn't exactly right. You don't have to keep it forever, but every so often you got to clean out all those bills and stuff. Shred It. It's today, April 3rd. Shred It event at Westfield Memorial Hospital, sponsored by the Auxiliary of Westfield Hospital. The event runs from 10 to 12 p.m. It's just 2 hours in the parking lot. $10 per container. So they give you a container, you fill it up, get rid of all those papers and files that are outdated. Hope to see you there. All right. So you might think, why would I do that? A lot of people don't have a shredder. A lot of people think that somebody is snooping around their garbage. It could be. There's lots of personal information that goes into our garbage that somebody might want to get in and steal and get your identification or whatever. Not trying to scare you, but it's real. So this is a good opportunity to get all those things that you don't want around the house shredded. A lot of times you can't burn it, so got to get rid of it somehow. Today at the Memorial Hospital in Westfield. All right, next one, nutrition. The Chautauqua Center honors Nutrition Month with addition of medical nutrition therapy and sponsorship of Jamestown Public Market. All right, this is Dunkirk and Jamestown area. The Chautauqua Center is excited to announce the addition of Steve Warden, RDN, CDN, a registered dietitian nutritionist who has joined their team of providers. There he is. Stephen is offering medical nutrition therapy at the Chautauqua Center's Dunkirk and Jamestown locations. It can help you and your family optimize health through the nutrition, counseling, and assessment, diet education, and meal planning. Boy, after this pandemic, I don't know anybody that couldn't use that. Born and raised in the Jamestown area, Stephen is a 2016 graduate of Baldwin Wallace University. He completed professional internships with the Cleveland Clinic Sports Medicine Division as a physical therapy intern and with T3 Performance as a strength coach intern. Upon graduating, Stephen worked as a performance coach for the STA Sports Performance LLC in Buffalo. Whew. That's a mouthful. In 2020, after completing the coordinated dietitian education program at Buff State, my alma mater, he graduated with a second degree in dietetics and clinical nutrition. And he says, I love helping clients from all walks of life meet and exceed their health goals. He says, improving the human body's ability through nutrition and exercise is his passion. So, welcome aboard, Steve. All right, and let's see where we go next. Hang on a second. I got to make sure. In honor of National Nutrition Month, this goes along with that. The Chautauqua Center has partnered with Bosari Foods with virtual cooking class to introduce Stephen to the community. The event streams live on Facebook. It's already happened. Done. Anyways, so much for that. Sometimes our announcements are carryovers, but anyways, we're done with that one. All right. Oh, now there's another one here. Slide 17. It goes on to say that they announced their sponsorship of the Jamestown Public Market for 2021. I've played there. That's really a lot of fun if you haven't been to the Jamestown Public Market. The effort is a part of a broader partnership to support the Jamestown Public Market's mobile market program that provides low-cost, locally grown produce to targeted neighborhoods throughout Jamestown. Last year, the two organizations piloted a veggie prescription program that allowed the center to prescribe fresh fruits and vegetables for patients. Medical, dental, and behavioral health clinicians identified patients who would benefit from free produce and help facilitate their use of the mobile market. One of the major contributors for poor health is diet, which disproportionately affects low-income communities, explained Sarah Gilbert, their marketing specialist and JPM advisory board member. We are thrilled to partner with the Jamestown Public Market again this year to help our patients eat healthier by reducing barriers like cost and transportation. The market's program runs weekly from June to October and includes a stop outside of the Chautauqua Center's Jamestown location on Institute Street. For more information, you can go to jtownpublicmarket.org. Okay, and just for information, the center offers primary care services, medical nutrition therapy, and so forth, both in Dunkirk and in Jamestown, and their number there is 484-4334. And finally, this is a long one. Okay, did you know that 26.7% of Chautauqua County youth said they used alcohol in the last 30 days? Let me say that again. Did you know 26.7% of Chautauqua County youth said they used alcohol in the past 30 days? The reason why they know that is a lot of times they do these surveys with kids, and kids are pretty open and straightforward, and I suspect that number might even be a little higher because sometimes there are some shy ones, but most of the kids will tell it like it is. Now, here's the part you got to understand. You say, well, what's the big deal? We did it when we were kids and so forth. Well, that may be true, but some of the kids, they get into alcohol too much, and it can really hurt them. Why? The brain is still developing until mid to late 20s. Underage drinking can have major impacts on regions of the developing brain, such as the prefrontal cortex and the, here we go, hippocampus. Alcohol use in adolescence can affect impulse control, memory, learning, attention, and inhibit neurotransmitters. I always have to pause because they have these long words that I'm not ready to say. Alcohol is the most commonly used substance among young people. The 2019 Chautauqua County Pride Survey data found that among high school students, 70% of the 11th through 12th graders report drinking alcohol in their lifetime. 18% of the 9th and 10th graders binge drank in the last 30 days. 40% of the 11th and 12th graders were supplied alcohol by someone 21 and over. 20% of the 9th and 10th graders reported being in a situation they later regretted as a result of using alcohol. Okay, so these are things to think about. And this goes back to our friends at Prevention Works, I believe, and they have their annual Alcohol Awareness Month poster contest that's going on right now, and posters need to be in by April 16th. Please view the contest flyer and rules for more information on their website, and that would be Prevention Works here in Chautauqua County. Okay, alcohol is a serious condition for anybody, but we got to be really careful with our young folk. We're going to take a breather. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Every budget, so don't accept defeat.
Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
We're back, and I hope that you're going to stay with us because we have an interesting show in store for you. Growing up as a young lad, I decided I was going to be a teacher, and I ended up being a special education teacher. And I came to Chautauqua County in January of '74, and I worked for the BOCES program. One of our sister programs was something called the ARC back then, and that was called the Association for Retarded Children. And nowadays, that almost kind of grinds on you because that just sounds horrible, sort of, because children are not retarded. There are children that have conditions of mental retardation. We look at the child, then the condition, not the fact that they are the condition. And since then, the ARC had evolved into something else called the TRC, and I got Steve Waterson here that's going to tell us all about it. And welcome back.
Hi, Doc. How are you?
I'm great.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. You know, I fortunately was been able to watch the evolution of the ARC to the TRC, and I remember very clearly they had a little workshop, and I think it was down, is it 4th Street comes into 2nd Street near the high school? There was a little building there, right on that little point there, and there was a little workshop there, and they were sorting things and stuff. And now when I think of where you guys are now, it's like, wow.
I know, yeah. Now we used to just be based in Jamestown. Now we've got 40 plus locations throughout Chautauqua County, about 30 homes that people with disabilities live in. So yeah, the growth has been tremendous.
Well, and I know a lot of my students that I had however many, 40 some years ago, they're all adults and grown up, and many of them participate at the TRC and have moved on to have little jobs and done some good work.
Absolutely.
So how long have you been with the Resource Center now?
I've been there since '93, so 28 years.
Wow.
Long time.
Yeah, well, good for you. And how did you get started there? I mean, did you decide I'm going to work for the TRC or?
No, I was working at Jamestown Community College on a temporary basis, filling in for somebody who was on maternity leave, and a person in the public relations development office at the Resource Center was getting ready to go on maternity leave. So I kind of, when the JCC gig ended, I shifted over to the Resource Center and was able to parlay that into a full-time job and a career that's lasted, like I said, 28 years.
Excellent. Well, you do a great job, and you sent me a bunch of pictures that we'll look at later, but I mean, when I look at what y'all are doing and that you've captured a lot of this in photographs and things like that, I just sit there and my head spins. It really does. And I visited the facility over the years, and I just look at it and I go like, wow. I mean, that's all I gotta say is wow. It's just incredible. And just the residential homes. We used to tell parents, you need to get on a list. Right. And so if parents are listening right now, let's talk a little bit about that since it came to mind, is that children are born and every one of us has something about us that's maybe not exactly perfect. And sometimes it requires special education services and we don't think about that child growing up, right? They're gonna be our kid forever and ever. They do grow up. And they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and their needs change, and they should have the opportunity to be as independent as they can, right?
Absolutely.
And in order to get these kiddos, these young adults now connected to your services, they got to get into the system. So
Right.
what do they got to do?
These days, they want to contact an organization called Person-Centered Services. It's fairly new. It's been around for probably not quite 3 years, but that's sort of the gateway to getting connected with agencies such as the Resource Center that provides services to anybody in Western New York.
Cool. I remember, and maybe it still is, they used to have what they call a transition plan.
Right.
Where we're around 12 years old, you got to kind of look into the future and say, what do I need to do to prepare my child to be an adult someday? And a lot of it was, where are they going to live? And I know parents that they kept their adult that had handicapping conditions till they were well into their 80s. The parents and the kids were in their 60s, and it was just too much for them. And I used to say, why didn't you get them into? And they just couldn't do it. They were just so connected to that individual, they just couldn't break that tie. But they're really not doing anybody a lot of favors sometimes.
No, and I think back years ago, right? I mean, people with developmental disabilities, they maybe didn't live very long.
Mm-hmm.
So for a parent or family to keep their loved one with a disability at home, most likely the family is going to outlive them. Well, now with healthcare the way it is, people with disabilities are living long lives, and families who keep their loved one at home and don't make those plans for the future are running the risk of something. Someone can die any time,
Absolutely.
and no matter any age. And you're going to have somebody, if you haven't made a plan for your loved one, then what happens?
Right.
We're able to get them in on an emergency basis, but it's much better to be able to have that planning set up beforehand. And think about how disruptive it is to somebody who has lived their entire life, 50, 60, 70 years in the family home, and all of a sudden the parents are either gone or can no longer care for them.
Now what
and they've got
happens?
to be uprooted and put into a situation that is completely foreign to them.
Right, and that's not to say if someone's watching right now that has someone that's in this situation where the adult is living with them now that has a developmental disability, as you say, I mean, that's fine. We're not saying don't do that, but what we're saying is there may come a time where you may want to not have that happen, and you need to plan ahead because there's long lists, as I remember, for people to get into these programs. I mean, there's only so many spaces, right?
Right, certainly can be. And it never hurts to start looking and getting some information now. And even if you're not ready to make that decision, people are probably imagining the process is one thing, so it's better to look into it and get familiar with it so that when you're ready to make that move, you're ready to make that move. You've got the information you need.
Great. Do they still offer that service like a respite, like a weekend type thing?
Absolutely.
If you want to go on vacation, they could go stay, like they go on a little vacation. Is that still there?
Right, yeah. So families that have their loved one with a disability living at home, that can be time-occupying job and stressful, so they maybe want to take a vacation but are not able to take their loved one with them. The Resource Center can have somebody that will either come into the home and stay with the person, or the person, we have a lot of our staff that maybe works with an individual with a disability during the day, so they're familiar with them.
Okay.
That person can then go and stay at the staff person's home during the weekend. So that we absolutely still have those respite services.
Excellent. And that's just one of like hundreds of services you all do. So what's the main thrust of the Resource Center? I mean, if you were to do an elevator speech, what would you say to that individual? Why do you exist?
I would say there's three things. So the Resource Center, we were founded in 1958 by families of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities who wanted better lives for their children. You know, back then the public schools didn't have to accept children who had severe disabilities, and there really weren't a lot of educational employment opportunities, and some families wanted something more. So the Resource Center was founded, and at that time we're just providing supports to individuals and families, individuals with developmental disabilities. Over the years that has expanded, that we support people with all types of disabilities. So we provide services and supports to people with behavioral health challenges, and as a result of that, you know, over the years we found that healthcare, access to healthcare, was difficult for people with developmental disabilities. So about 30 plus years ago, we started our own primary care office, and that expanded to dental services and counseling and occupational therapy, physical therapy. And again, those services were started primarily for the people with disabilities we supported, but then we noticed, you know what, there are also some people out in the community, non-disabled people, who are falling through the cracks in the healthcare system and can't find a doctor. So we opened up our healthcare services to anybody probably in the early 90s. And in fact, my primary care doctor is one of the physicians, Dr. Munir at the Resource Center, so that we're able to provide healthcare to anybody in the community who needs it. So that covers two of the main things we do, is the supports to people with disabilities and then the healthcare services. The other thing we do is we have a very big manufacturing operation. We have manufacturing centers in Jamestown and Dunkirk that are designed primarily to provide employment opportunities to people with disabilities. We do some subcontracting work for local businesses, and I think you saw in the promotional beginning of the show, the montage of photos we had. We do a lot of the packaging of beer for Southern Tier, and then we do a lot of work for the federal government. We started that probably back in 1977, and that's been very good work for us and has gotten us a lot of promotion and publicity over the years. Back in the first Gulf War, back in the early 90s, the Resource Center made camouflage helmet covers for our troops overseas. Later on in the 90s, when the Bosnian War was taking place, we made these air cargo bags, these giant canvas bags.
I remember that, and you had to have special sewing machines, I remember.
Right, and we used those, the military used those to airdrop relief supplies into mountainous regions of Bosnia that you couldn't get supplies in otherwise. And then when the second Gulf War started, when the U.S. Marines crossed into Iraq from Kuwait, every Marine carried with him or her a first aid kit that was assembled by people with disabilities at the Resource Center. Wow. And that was a rush order. I think we made like 48,000 of them over a few months. And a few months later, some Marine officials from Quantico came in to personally thank the folks at our Jamestown Work Center who had assembled those kits because they had saved people's lives. Yeah. So that was fantastic. So those are the three things. Supports to people with disabilities, the healthcare services for anybody, and the manufacturing that we do.
Wow. We got to the top of the Empire State Building on that elevator, right?
There you go. That covers it.
That covers it. Well, wow. So with the manufacturing, people might now be listening and they're thinking of perhaps, large machines and lathes and CNC things. I mean, we're not talking that necessarily, are we?
No, a lot of what we do now is sewing. And, we got, put on my glasses. You want to pull up slide 28, maybe?
Yeah, you can do that.
When that comes up.
Okay, and that will show us some of the...
We do a lot of industrial sewing. So there we go. That shows some of the stuff that we do. You see the packaging of the Southern Tier beer there in the middle. On the upper right, there's a gentleman who is working out at the rest area on I-86. We have an environmental services division that goes out and performs janitorial services at a number of governmental offices in the region, and I-86 being a New York State Thruway building, that's one of the contracts that we have.
So, people are thinking, well, how in the world are these folks doing these jobs because they have a disability? So how does that all work?
A lot of training goes
Okay.
on, and with technology the way it is now, we were able to get systems in that make it very easy, or a lot easier, for someone with a physical disability to be able to operate a machine that would have been a lot more difficult to do in the past.
So perhaps buttons, rather, pushing buttons or moving levers, that type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize that so much of the technology today is joysticks, and all, I mean, it's just not the way it used to be. If you go into any kind of a manufacturing plant, for the most part, I mean, the technology is just through the roof,
Right.
robotics and things like that. So, what's your sense of the folks that work? I mean, they got to be taking a great sense of pride in their work, right?
Absolutely. When you meet somebody for the first time, one of the first questions that comes out of your mouth is, what do you do for a living? Well, people with disabilities aren't any different, and they take a lot of pride in their job. As I talked about when the Marines came in to thank us for the work we did on those first aid kits. If you don't think that the people who made those first aid kits were pretty charged up to have a Marine come in and thank them for the job they did, or watching the news and seeing some of the products that we make being utilized by our troops overseas, that's going to give you a pretty good feeling in your heart. And we're also proud of the fact that everybody who works at our work centers, they make minimum wage or better. Some people make make very good money. So that's something that people with disabilities appreciate, and that we're happy to say that we do as well.
Having been a special ed teacher, I know that each disability of itself is challenging day-to-day life. So do you cover almost like every disability as far as the way you approach it with the individual? I mean, visually disabled, people with visual disabilities, physical disabilities, mental disabilities, I mean, are they all involved?
Yeah, we provide supports to somebody with any type of disability, and those supports are all individually tailored to each person, because as you said, everybody is different, every situation is different. So every person has an individual plan, and the staff works on that with the individual and their family every year to monitor that, see how it's going, develop it, and identify those goals that the person wants to achieve, and helps them to get there.
And also those that have wheelchairs, I'm assuming?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I expand that a little bit, because sometimes we get pigeonholed into just one disability, but there's a variety of disabilities.
Sure.
And so forth. Now, when you said something about, I'm thinking it was mental health, but I mean, was there a group of folks that you work with that are like drug dependent or have?
Yeah.
Emotional disabilities,
Our
or?
counseling and psychiatric services program, I mean, they would provide counseling to anybody who, they're having an issue with divorce or job loss, they're depressed. You can go in and talk to a counselor about that. But yeah, we do provide supports to people with substance abuse disorders. Absolutely.
Okay.
And there's a picture there. So when the pandemic hit last year,
boy.
everything shut down, but we were able to, state of New York allowed providers such as the Resource Center to do telepsychiatry.
I've never heard of that one before.
So, but that's basically, you're interacting with your provider via telephone or video conference like this in order so people can still access the supports that they need if they're either unable or unwilling. So somebody with an anxiety disorder or really just doesn't want to worry about catching COVID, doesn't want to leave the house, they're able to keep their counseling appointments through technology.
All right, so for those that are listening on the radio right now, what we're looking at is basically an individual that's looks like he's having a counseling session via Zoom, let's call it that, or Skype or something like that.
Yep.
And gee, that's a great idea. And I would suspect, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of agencies and companies are learning this might be a better way of doing some getting a service to individuals that maybe live out in the country, they don't have good transportation, but maybe they have the technology in their homes that they could stay in touch with those folks. So with the pandemic, what in the world did you all do with the manufacturing? Did that shut you all down, or did you have to retool everything as far
We
as
kept,
masks?
well, it's interesting. Let's see if we call up slide 32. The manufacturing center kept
there you
going,
go.
people
All
wearing
right.
masks. But the other, because we are adept at sewing, the thing that we transitioned to last April was making masks and gowns, because at that time it was hard to get that personal protective equipment, right? So we kind of shifted and trained everybody on how to make masks and gowns, and we were able to meet needs for a lot of the local businesses and some of our sister chapters like the Resource Center across the state, who at that time were just really struggling to get hold of that PPE.
I did not know you did that.
Yeah.
Well, that's so interesting that locally we had folks like you doing the masks and gowns, and we had some of the the beverage companies, the manufacturers that were making the hand sanitizer, because they could use the alcohol. So people really stood up and really came to help everybody.
Yeah.
I've told people that when this is all done, whenever it is, my wife thinks I'm nuts, not here, but I want to make a little display for my great-grandchildren of all the masks, the different variations. Because I remember the first ones, they were these heavy cloth masks, and they had these ties in the back. And I mean, everybody was trying to manufacture something. And then, the various cloth ones, the cheap ones, the better ones, and then or paper ones, then the cloth ones, and then the ones that we all now have, these other things. And I mean, it was an evolution of the technology, really. And it's been fascinating to watch. All right, so wow.
Yeah. Hey, while we're on this topic,
sure,
let's call up slide 22, if we could. So this is kind of neat. That is an individual, all gowned up and protected, using a Clorox 360 total disinfecting and sanitizing machine. And they're using that at the elevator at our facility on Jones and Gifford Avenue. But this is a cleaning system that we got so that we could go in and clean out workspaces that had a positive COVID. So our environmental services crew that goes out and works at the local businesses can go out into any business that has had a COVID exposure. We will come in, we'll spray this stuff, this Clorox down. It gets into all the nooks and crannies and kills off anything, and you can have your workspace clean and ready to operate and be occupied again.
So you guys came up with this service during the pandemic?
Well, no, this Clorox 360 machine is made by Clorox, and we went out and bought a machine.
That's what I'm saying. You created this service out of the pandemic.
Right.
And now you go to any company that wants it?
Yes.
How do they get a hold of you? I'm sure some people listening right now might be interested.
The Resource Center's main number is 483-2344. So if you want information on the Clorox 360 system or anything that we do, just give a call.
Cool. Since you made mention of numbers, do you realize that today is 4321?
How about that?
Just a passing. I saw that on Facebook. I go, what? 4321. All right, so that is 483.
483-2344. Yep.
All right. And I'm assuming certain business hours, what,
8 to 5,
8 to
typically,
5?
Yep.
Okay. Very cool.
Monday to Friday.
Wow. And so now I'm always trying to be sensitive to this. The people that show up for work every day, are they workers, clients, customers? What's the politically correct term for 2021?
It depends where you are. I think our counseling program refers to the people that come into there as clients.
Mm-hmm.
It's our primary care office and dental office. Everybody's a patient, no matter who you are. The term that we are using these days and that people with disabilities seem to prefer is self-advocate.
Ooh.
Labels are always so hard. No matter what word you come up with, somebody is not going to like it. So, self-advocate, somebody who's able to speak out for themselves and to express what they would like to see. So that's the term that I've been using.
Which brings me to a thought is that disabilities are like a yardstick. You have folks all along that pole or that stick as far as levels of ability. So I don't know, let's take physical disabilities. You have folks that are severely hampered by their disability at one end, and over to the other end, you may have someone with very, very minor physical issues.
Right.
So I kind of understand those people at the one end of the pole or the stick, as you would say, that get up every morning, get on a bus, come to work. What kind of service do you have for folks that are a little bit more or severely involved?
So we operate several what they call day habilitation programs.
Mm-hmm.
And people go to those programs, and they will do things like, a lot of it is volunteering out in the community, or going out and doing stuff in the community, but they'll work on skills of daily living. For some people that are very involved, a lot of it is, there's a lot of personal care that it goes on. But the folks that are in the day programs, they enjoy going out and doing stuff. So they're out volunteering, they're out, we have so many wonderful attractions here in the area, and unfortunately a lot of them have been shut down in the last year, but people like going out and doing stuff in the community just like anybody else does.
Okay. So it sort of sounds to me that with the day habilitation program, it's sort of like a continuation of maybe their school program, keeping up on their, like you said, personal skills and daily living, feeding, eating, dressing, maybe some academics, and then, like you say, getting out and being social. Huh?
Yeah, that's part of it for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And then a lot of folks work, right? So we have, there's probably about 200 people that the Resource Center supports with disabilities who have competitive jobs at businesses out in the community. We probably have relationships with 150 or so businesses that either employ people or provide work training opportunities.
All right, so
people.
these are folks that don't go to your facility; they go into businesses.
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep, or they could, it's possible that they go into our day program some of the time, but then have a job out in the community other times as
And
well.
they would have like a job coach to come
Yes.
out and work with them?
Yep. Yeah, and if we have slide 31, since we're talking
Boy, we're
about
organized
people,
today, aren't we?
We're doing pretty well. So that is Lori.
All right.
And Lori is there out, in case you can't read, she's holding up a sign that says, "I am essential."
Very cool.
And Lori got a job at a local nursing home a few years ago, and she had a job coach, as you mentioned. So a job coach is someone who comes in with a person with a disability. It's kind of also helps the person learn the job and perform the job, but also serves as kind of that guarantee to the employer that the work is going to get done in case the person isn't quite done when their shift is getting ready to be done. The job coach will help finish it up.
Oh.
So when the pandemic hit, guess what? Lori, as an essential worker working there, she's able to go to the nursing home. Her job coach isn't. But Lori was able to, through some technology, she was able to continue on in her job and has been very successful, and found out, Lori didn't need a job coach anymore. And very proud of what she's been doing.
What's her position there?
When I have seen Lori, some of the photos I've seen, she has been kind of preparing snacks for people, doing that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. When I haven't talked with Lori specifically about her job, but I've seen some photos of her working,
she's
and that's what
a
she's been
supportive
doing.
worker there.
Yes.
Now, maybe there is no typical, like for how many hours a week would she work? 40 hours
I don't know. But some people have full-time jobs. So for some people, full-time work is not possible. It's just
Right.
that,
It's just too much.
Right. So some people will work a few hours a week. So that's the range.
This really heartens me greatly because, it wasn't that long ago that probably pre-70s anyways, that folks with disabilities, they were locked away. You hardly ever saw them. And now it's just part of our everyday life. I mean, we've come a long way, maybe, with folks with disabilities. I'm so pleased that our county has been very welcoming to folks, and we see them shopping at the theater, or going on trips, whatever the case is. It's come a long way, hasn't it?
Amen. I think there's some expression, I'm not gonna get it right, but our community functions at its best when everybody is included and is valued as a human being. And I know that you've had Wayne Hotelling on the show before. Wayne has a daughter, Laurel, who was born with Down syndrome. And when Laurel was born in 1963 and they found out that she had Down syndrome, the doctor suggested to Wayne and his wife Elaine, best thing you can do for yourselves and her is to send her off to live in an institution and just get on with your lives. And they said, no way. And they raised Laurel at home with her brothers and sisters, and she had all the same opportunities as anybody else in the neighborhood up in Silver Creek where they live. She did sports, she did scouting, and Laurel had a very full life, and as a result of the Laurel Run, has become a little bit of a celebrity here in Chautauqua County.
Poster child, I think, poster adult.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I did my student teaching at Buff State, I was in the special education program. I did my internships, student teaching at West Seneca's Developmental Center. And that's where everybody, like you said, if you had a child that had some type of disability, it was like, send them to West Seneca or go Perrysburg or wherever. And those places have all but closed up, as far as those services, because there was a push to bring those kids home where they belong, and it took a lot of training, a lot of development of programs, but you guys have figured it out. I want to get back to the employment thing. So I remember working with kids and sitting and figuring out what were all the little baby steps to anything. How do I get that person to run this machine to make a widget? And show them how to turn it on, and so does somebody do that at the company? They go in and break the job down in little pieces?
Yeah, I know that takes place. I don't know how often it takes place, where they have to do with every person. But yeah, I mean, I needed a job. I needed training in my job when I started. So everybody needs training to some degree, and some people are going to need more supports and hands-on. But we want to do whatever we can to help make somebody successful in their job.
And I mention this because some people might be a little reticent to say, I don't know about this, but all of us, like you said, whatever the position is, if someone takes the time and breaks it down in little pieces, and with a little bit of repetition and practice, we can be pretty successful. I mean, and these folks are so talented, and they're big hearts, and they love coming to work, and I understand their attendance rate is pretty good too.
It's just what I was thinking when you were saying they like coming to work. What we've heard from a lot of local employers who hire people with disabilities is that the people love their jobs, and their attendance rate is a lot better than their non-disabled workers. They're going to show up to work pretty much every day.
Okay, we have a bunch of other pictures, and I don't want to miss any of them. So you just call them out, and Jeff will pop them up for us.
Well, let's see. We'll jump. Let's do 24, I guess.
Okay, and what's 24 all about?
This is just going to be a picture of, this is our dental office in Jamestown. This is post-COVID, so everybody is wearing masks and gown. We are, very much take seriously keeping everybody, patients and staff, safe. So we have heard from other people that our dental office people who've been to multiple dental offices around have said that we do an exceptional job in terms of the safety protocol that we have going on there. So yeah, that's good to hear.
Okay, well, let's hold on. We got a phone call. You want to take a call?
Absolutely.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Steve. This is Linda Spalding.
Hey, Lynn.
Steve, I want to compliment you on the tremendous things that the resource does for the community and for the people that participate there. It's just amazing, the accomplishments the people arrive at through your assistance and support.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Doc, I want to say I'm enjoying the show, and I'm glad to see you on, and I wish you a very happy Easter, and it's Passover too.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, thank you for reminding me of that. I always forget that part. All right, you do anything special for Easter?
Nothing too special. Just enjoying myself. Okay. Happy that the COVID is disappearing. Hopefully.
Yeah. Get your shots yet?
I got my first one.
All right, I got 2 down. I'm good.
No, that's great. Yeah. Great.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in and sharing that.
Okay. Have a great weekend.
All right. Take care.
Thanks,
Linda. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, let's pull up number 25, since we mentioned Easter. Okay, so that lady there, that's Dory Matwico. Dory lives up in the Buffalo area, and that's her son, Austin. And Austin is on the autism spectrum, and he lives in one of our homes in Jamestown, and his mom, Dory, is a huge supporter of the Resource Center because of what we do for her son. And we have an event every September called Step Up for Autism, an awareness walk.
Yep.
Dory is a professional pastry chef. And so what she does, and she bakes cookies.
Wait a minute, those are cookies?
Those are cookies.
I thought those were quilts.
Those are cookies that she made, and she sells these under Austin's Angels. Her son is Austin. Austin's Angels with the hashtag Baking for Autism. And she sells these cookies, these Easter cookies, and gives the money to us. And last year we decided not to have our Step Up for Autism walk. And Dory said, you know what? The Resource Center can't do theirs, but I'm going to do mine. So she had her own walk up in Grand Island and did a bake sale, obviously, and ended up raising $10,000 for us.
Woo,
so
that's a lot of dough.
Yeah, so she is absolutely wonderful. And since it was Easter, I just wanted to pull that up and give her a shout out. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's see, slide 26. So TRC, we like to give back to the community, both the people who work for the Resource Center and the people we support. And so we do something called TRC Gives Back. And at a few of our facilities, there is a dress code. You can't wear jeans every day of the week. But if you pay $1 on a Friday, you can wear jeans. And then each month we take that money and we donate it to a specified charitable organization. So this was for February, we raised money for Chautauqua County Humane Society and Lakeshore Humane Society. So
cool.
There they are doing that.
You know, I don't care who you are, where you are in this world, people love to rally around a cause, don't they? They feel good, and I bet your folks there, when they've raised some money there, it's a good thing.
Amen. Yeah, so slide 30, while we're on
Keep
that,
on going.
TRC Gives Back. This is a group of people with Ring the Bell for the Salvation Army. We partnered with the Jamestown Kiwanis Club to create an organization called Action Club. Ooh. And it is a service group for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
I've never heard
and
of
the
that before.
person who's 3 in from the right, Wendy Wilcox. I don't know if you know Wendy. She works at M&T Bank, but she also works on weekends at one of our group homes. And she is just extremely passionate. Yeah, and in her church, I don't know where she finds the energy, but she organizes this Action Club. She gets them out doing things. She's been so upset that we haven't been able to get out and get the group together in the last year because of COVID, because they do car washes and all sorts of things. But people with disabilities love giving back. So I just wanted to show that photo.
Let's hold that picture for a minute, because, and again, for those who are listening on the radio right now, many of these clients are getting up there in age. And we always think of them as little kids, but they are full adults. They have adult needs and interests, and that's way cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I bet they take a lot of pride out there ringing the bell and talking to people, and they're very social.
Yes.
I remember a lot of my students just could talk your ear off. They love being with people.
They do. Well, who doesn't, right?
My wife tells me I'm becoming a hermit during COVID. Okay, we got a couple minutes left.
Slide 27, just to talk about something that's going to be coming up. So we've got an award-winning art program for people with disabilities, but it is located in a small room at our facility on Jones and Gifford Avenue in Jamestown. So we have undertaken a capital campaign to raise money to create the Edgewater Art Center, which is going to be built down across from McCrae Point, right along the Chautauqua River, down in Jamestown. And this picture, Key Bank and First Niagara Foundation gave us $200,000 to help us build that thing. So we just wanted to give a shout out. You'll be hearing more about the
Edgewater.
2
with a bunch of zeros after it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So you'll be hearing about that in the coming months.
Well, yes, you had to let me know on that one.
Absolutely. And then the last thing, number 29, just to give a little plug. So the Resource Center is a membership organization. Anybody can become a member of TRC.
I know Jennifer.
We got Jennifer on the left and Jennifer on the right. So
I know
Jennifer Felice and Jennifer Yost.
Yes, I know them both.
But anybody can become a member of TRC. Annual membership dues are $10, and when you become a member, you give us a stronger voice when we're out advocating on behalf of people with disabilities and their families. And when you become a member, we give you a membership card that gives you discounts at about 50 local businesses, diners, bag and string wine merchant, tanning salons, pretty much anything that you want, you can get a discount for. So you can make up the cost of your $10 membership dues in one business to some places.
I'm a member. I'm pretty sure I'm a member.
I'll double check.
Remember? Yeah. If not, make sure I get my card.
You got it.
We got a half a minute left. How about a phone number again, and anything else you want to say?
Yeah, phone number if you want to ask anything about the Resource Center. Again, the main number is 483-2344, and the website is resourcecenter.org.
Wow, super. Steve Waterson's been our guest today, and Steve, thanks for bringing in all this information. I'm always thrilled, absolutely thrilled, because that was my life for many years, and to see where a lot of my kiddos are now and being successful adults, so well done.
Thank you, Doc.
All right. Hey, everybody have a great Easter and enjoy families safely. And remember, if you've all had your shots, you can get together. If not, keep that six feet apart. Wear your mask still. Stay safe. And we're going to do this all again next Saturday morning right here on Access Chautauqua, 1301 on, what's it called, Spectrum. I can't remember. You miss a week and you forget things. So anyways, I guess we're just about done for the day. So again, if you ever have any comments or whatever, give us a call, 753-5225. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry about the...